Hello, everybody. It's Dave Neal, stand-up comic and host of Bachelor Nation News and the Rush Hour podcast. I've got a video a little different than my normal content. If you know me, you know I cover entertainment news and pop culture content. But what is a bigger pop culture moment in our world than the president possibly stepping down this weekend? So I'm going to discuss how the hell we got here and also cover former President Trump's speech at the RNC convention. If you know me, you understand my values align mostly with a progressive sort of framework. Although as a comedian, I'm all for freedom of speech and listening to others. I've been criticized for platforming conversations with people that the left might not like or the right might not like. And if you're doing it right, you probably pissed off people both on the left and the right, and maybe that's a good thing. There are so many good conversations happening right now across the aisle. Cenk from Young Turks just had a great conversation with a right-leaning YouTuber, and I think we just need to see more of that. Charlie Kirk. You might never check out Charlie Kirk, or you might never check out Cenk, but they probably had about 80% of things to agree upon. And when we take out the clickbait nature of YouTube and Substack and Instagram and all of the clicks that get us the traffic we need, there are way more reasonable conversations happening than not out there. And one reasonable conversation after the debate between Trump and Biden was that Biden has to go. And there is enough time to inspire a new candidate to step forward and put up a better product. Of course, that old argument, how out of 300 million people do we settle upon Trump and Biden? And they have sort of spoken to niche groups in both parties. And it's not to knock what Biden has done, but the polls just simply show he's not about to win this thing after the very ill-fated and sad assassination attempt last weekend. It was only going to solidify Trump. Now, polling has showed that nobody has really moved. And I think that brings us to a bigger point, that polls aren't moving. Everybody knows what they get out of Trump. Everybody knows what they get out of Biden. People are stuck in their ways. And with that, the swing states right now are polling in favor of Trump. So there's been a lot of discussion from leaders in the Democratic Party to have Biden step down. But there's also conspiracies that if Biden steps down, they're just going to insert Kamala and it's not a real democracy. Well, a new breaking story is very interesting from Mark Halperin. He said, breaking news, multiple sources outline the apparent state of play on Biden at this time. Now, this came out last night. Plans to announce withdrawal from nomination as early as this weekend, with Sunday most likely. Now, you might think, but Biden's been so steadfast and strong in saying he's the nominee. Well, you have to be as strong and steadfast until you're not. And he's showed some cracks in the armor by saying, the only way I'm going to get out of this thing is if medical intervention. And then, of course, we find out he's got COVID. And people go, well, not to say he's even battling COVID like it's kicking his butt here, but I mean, jet lag took him out. You know what I mean? And that's no knock on him. He deserves a happy retirement. John Meacham is polishing up the remarks. He's a speechwriter. And Biden will not resign the presidency. So he doesn't plan on stepping down from the presidency. Biden will not endorse Harris. Also interesting. Open convention with Harris and about 3 others. If Kamala Harris is to be the next nominee, it has to be in some sort of democratic way. Make her earn it so people don't think she's being jammed down people's throats. And if she doesn't earn it, if another hopeful emerges and gives a killer speech and has a killer platform and everyone goes, oh my gosh, this is actually absolutely it, then hopefully it doesn't look like they're sidestepping her. Let the best man or woman win. Superdelegates will not be allowed to vote on first ballot. Harris is vetting at least 4 possible running mates, including Andy Beshear and possibly Shapiro. So Andy Beshear, a Democrat in Kentucky, interesting, and Shapiro in, I believe, Pennsylvania, also Pennsylvania, a swing state. There's also talk about, I believe, Mark Kelly in Arizona. Do I have that name right? And my favorite is Gretchen Whitmer in Michigan. I like her. I just think she's, she's got good charisma. She speaks to common people, and she's also in a swing state. So, anyway, and believe it or not, while some Michigonians, am I pronouncing that right? While some people from Michigan think that she isn't doing a good job, she seems to have very high approval as she has been reelected as governor. So, I'm going to share with you several clips of the convention last night on Real News No Bullshit, an Instagram account that has a very big following. I believe their audience leans right. I think that's safe to say, although I do believe they try and do a fair job to cover the story fairly. I don't know if they always do. And then I'm going to share the Mark Halperin story where he actually lays out why he believes Biden's about to step down. And then we'll cover actually a very interesting story. Adam Kinzinger right here, a Republican, levels Trump in his speech. Now, let's play a few clips of the speech, and then I'll give you my thoughts and opinions.
Our Secret Service sniper, from a much greater distance and with only one bullet used, took the assassin's life, took him out.
Now, if you want me to properly break down the entire speech, I couldn't do that. It's 90 plus minutes long. I thought the speech would go 30 minutes. I don't know why I thought that. We know Trump can give a long speech. Most people in the news that I've talked to or heard their opinion of say this was a bad speech. Now, those in the convention room and those that are already supporters thought it was a great speech, but that's not who you're trying to hit right now. More likely than not, this Trump speech was actually a win for the Democratic Party in the sense that who that was a swing voter that wasn't that was undecided watched a 90-minute speech and saw a real vision. They touted this speech as being a speech for unity. Now, with all due respect, those that know me, I believe I'm trying my best to be impartial here. I watched this speech going, man, he is so set up for a slam dunk. He can go out there and give a deafening, uniting speech for all of Americans to rally behind after this wild visual of him surviving an assassination attempt. It just didn't happen. It just didn't happen. We'll see what the polls have to say. I don't think one or two voters changed their opinions on the matter. And also there was, people fact checking, but I don't think facts matter right now. As far as the election goes, I don't think, I think those that are undecided are more looking at is this what we want? And I heard a great analogy. They called it the leaf blower analogy, in that listening to Trump talk for 90 minutes was like when your neighbor has a leaf blower on for too long and it just annoys you. Brevity is a virtue. I think he could have came out there with an amazing 20-minute video. It actually reminded me to just watch Obama's video, and I will show you right now. I was just watching it. But Obama, let me go to my history. I was literally just watching this, gave a 17-minute long video. 17 minutes. He kept it short and sweet, and he absolutely knocked it out of the park here. 18 minutes.
In 2004.
And this was in 2004, years before he would become president. Look at this spike right here. I'm going to just click on this spike, and you're going to see what brevity can do and what 17 minutes can do, which might change the course of history. Now, whether you liked Barack Obama or not, this is the type of character that can emerge almost out of nowhere in the national stage and completely change things. If the Democratic Party can find someone up their sleeve, and maybe it is a Gretchen Whitmer, maybe she comes and gives a speech and everyone goes, oh my gosh, we love her, moms love her, Michigan loves her. If that can happen, then I think the Republican Party is toast. Now, I'm not saying that will happen, but just a quick glimpse of the fastballs being thrown down the middle here by a very much not nationwide known Senator Barack Obama.
Name who believes that America has a place for him too. Hope in the face of difficulty, hope in the face of uncertainty, the audacity of hope. In the end, that is God's greatest gift to us, the bedrock of this nation, a belief in things not seen, a belief that there are better days ahead, I believe that we can give our middle class relief and provide working families with a road to opportunity. I believe we can provide jobs to the jobless, homes to the homeless, and reclaim young people in cities across America from violence and despair. I believe that we have a righteous wind at our backs, and that as we stand on the crossroads of history, we can make the right choices and meet the challenges that face us. America, tonight, if you feel the same energy that I do, if you feel the same urgency that I do, if you feel the same passion that I do, if you feel the same hopefulness that I do, if we do what we must do, then I have no doubt that all across the country, from Florida to Oregon, from Washington to Maine, the people will rise up in November, and John Kerry will be sworn in as president, and John Edwards will be sworn.
Now, goosebumps. As it turns out, Barack was, obviously trying to support his presidential nominee, John Kerry, who didn't win. But did he not get the attention of the nation and won very handedly the nomination and came from behind and all these things? Now you might say, Dave, well, now we've only got 4 or 5 months. Well, we don't need a Barack Obama to come out of nowhere. We need somebody, and I say we as a country need somebody that speaks to the middle class. Now the Democratic Party has moved away from that. We can all agree. I am not like a homer for the Democratic Party. I think they're bought and paid for. To what level? Is it more or less than the Republican Party? I don't think either party really is speaking for the middle class. I don't think either party is really, representing their people in the best way that they can. But if someone does emerge at the convention, it is going to be, I believe, a momentum and a change that this country is so thirsty for. We know what Biden is. We know what Trump is. Who's on deck? And we'll have to see how that plays out. My personal beliefs is I don't think Kamala moves the needle that much from Biden. But maybe she gives a speech that knocks it out of the park. We'll have to see. So anyhow, that speech compared to what we saw last night.
I'm not supposed to be here tonight. Not supposed to be
now
here.
That line, I'm not supposed to be here tonight. If he hammered on the bringing the country together after that, but after this, he went on for another 75 minutes. It was not good. And that's my opinion, and people might think differently. But I don't know how many people stayed up past midnight to watch it when he had everybody's attention. Now, I absolutely loved this moment. The kid in me. My wife's like, what's going on? And I was like, well, he normally rips his shirt off, but he's not going to do it because he's wearing a suit jacket. And then all of a sudden, Hulk Hogan takes his suit jacket off. And I go, this 70-year-old man is about to rip his shirt off.
And they tried to kill
got a fresh spray tan.
President of the United States.
Take your shirt off, brother.
Enough was enough. And I said, let Trumpomania run wild, brother. Let Trumpomania.
So they should have ended the night at that point. They should have. But either way, the theatrics are not going to, I don't think, win over the swing voters. Here's what Mark Halperin had to say about what might become one of the craziest weekends of our lifetime as far as disrupting the political momentum.
But our main topic will be Joe Biden. I've talked to multiple Democratic sources familiar with his thinking on what is going on. Everyone told me in Biden world that this would happen gradually and then all of a sudden, and it has happened all of a sudden. The expectation, Joe Biden now has agreed to withdraw from the presidential race this weekend, as early as Saturday. Most of my sources believe Sunday's more likely. John Meacham, longtime journalist, historian, and collaborator with Joe Biden, has been working on remarks for that event, I'm told. Joe Biden intends to be part of an agreement that's been brokered by Nancy Pelosi and others, not endorsing Vice President Harris, although he's expected to praise her, but to support an open convention to avoid a so-called Kamala coronation, to allow her to run in an open convention with an expectation of a few other candidates running. He plans to serve out his term as president. And the open convention would operate under rules that are still very much TBD, but there is an understanding that superdelegates would not vote on the first ballot, and so that the choice of the Democratic nominee would be made by the delegates who are Biden-Harris delegates. I think the vice president if this goes forward, even without the endorsement of President Biden, would be the favorite. I'm told by one source, confirmed, not in full, but enough for my satisfaction, that people close to the vice president have begun to vet potential running mates, including Governor Beshear of Kentucky and perhaps Governor Shapiro of Pennsylvania. My understanding is she intends to go to the convention with a ticket, whereas some of the other folks who are in line to potentially run may or may not run as a ticket. And some Democrats believe the top two finishers might choose to team up.
Very interesting. Look, guys, I fully support an open convention. Give the people their choice back. Biden was the nominee, but I don't think many people feel like he, they had their voices heard. RFK had a lot of momentum going in the Democratic Party. They kind of pushed him aside, so then he ran independent. Marianne Williamson was doing great, but they wouldn't let her on the debate stage. Give people the chance to hear the best candidate, and we might be surprised. Now, this commentary right here shows that they think that the announcement of COVID was the final silver bullet, as it were.
Biden is now out of this race. COVID means he is dropping out of this race. I don't know if he has it. I don't know if he doesn't have it. I will accept. I don't want to be a conspiracy theorist and say that he's announcing that he has COVID in order to drop out of the race. He cannot run for president with a case of COVID right now. I'm sorry. Trump is going to give a speech tomorrow night. He's going to be vigorous and on fire, having been shot 3 days ago. And Biden is going to be self-isolating in the basement in Delaware like 22. This is over.
There it is. This is over. And the Democratic Party knows that, and that's why the reports are that Biden's stepping down. Some of the comments from our Patreon, Sam says, I'm grateful for Biden. He's definitely underappreciated as a president right now, but that debate was so disheartening. I hope he holds his head high on the way out. I agree with that, with the fact that I think Biden actually will be looked at as a historically positive presidency, in the sense that the stock market's doing very well, and coming off of the pandemic, inflation is back down. It seems like it's been a lot, and it is, and it has been hurting people's wallets with groceries and things like that. I think we need to do a better job of reining in the, I don't even want to call it inflation. It's corporate greed more than anything from companies that have just jacked up the prices. Any of these grocery stores that are jacking up the prices and are making a profit, that profit should, they should, and again, I know it sounds anti-capitalistic, but they should be either taxed at a higher level on their profits, or they should try to, face the pressure to lower their prices, because we make these issues political and then we let off the hook the people that are actually at fault. And that's the corporate, the shareholders who they're, always trying to maximize their prices. We saw that was with Walmart. The Waltons are one of the richest families in the world. And why are prices of groceries so high and they keep making money? So anyway, I wanted to share this with you. I'm going to play it uninterrupted if it's good. I haven't watched it, but it's from a Republican whistleblower. Now, we saw all the other Republicans bend the knee to Trump after saying, I'll never vote for him, and then they do. Well, I respect somebody who actually speaks their mind and isn't afraid of whatever political nuclear fallback that exists. Adam Kinzinger, Republican, says, tonight you will hear Donald Trump paint a dark vision and a false picture of his accomplishments. Let me tell you the truth. Here's a 4-minute video of what he had to say.
Tonight, Donald Trump will be accepting the Republican nomination for the presidency of the United States. If you had told me 4 years ago that a twice impeached president who refused the peaceful transfer of power would once again be accepting his party's nomination, I wouldn't have believed you.
The music.
Any objective individual knows that Donald Trump routinely lies. Those lies can vary. The crux of them have become predictable. And with that predictability, I'm going to preemptively share with you what Donald Trump will say tonight while accepting the Republican nomination. Donald Trump will portray America as a once great nation that has become weak, a country without borders. He'll claim that immigrants are flooding into America because no one finished his wall after he left office. And he'll portray himself as the only person who can secure the border. He'll make grandiose claims that under his watch, America had the greatest economy in history, and that since he left office, inflation is killing the American economy and destroying jobs. He'll paint a picture of an America overrun with crime, where criminals are allowed to do whatever they want while politicians attack police officers and fail to back the blue. He'll depict the blue-collar working class as the
Just listening to him talk, imagine if this was a Republican candidate for president. You know what I mean? You know, just like he's a weak candidate. Biden is as well. If the Democrats find a stronger candidate, the
forgotten class, promising to fight for them and bring back their jobs. He'll claim we're on a path to World War III and that our standing in the world has diminished. And of course, he'll reference the 2020 election as being rigged and stolen. Simply put, he will paint a picture of carnage. He's going to try to scare you because Donald Trump wins on fear. He does not win on hope, optimism, or presenting a unified vision for America to come together and solve big challenges. The question every American should be asking, does Donald Trump's track record show he is capable of accomplishing these important goals? No. I've covered his lies, now I'll cover the truth. The truth is, while the border needs to be secured, Donald Trump is responsible for killing a bipartisan immigration bill that would have implemented the strongest border policies ever because he wanted to run on the issue of immigration for his own benefit and to the detriment of the American people. During Donald Trump's presidency, the American economy lost jobs. Under Reagan, Bush 41, Clinton, Bush 43, Obama, and now Biden, the American economy added millions of jobs. The truth is, 4 years ago, crime rates were higher. Today, crime rates are lower. 4 years ago, inflation was on the rise. Today, inflation's coming down. 4 years ago, America was losing jobs. Today, America's gaining jobs. 4 years ago, Trump got played by dictators. Today, America's allies once again trust us. 4 years ago, Trump failed to pass an infrastructure bill that would benefit blue-collar Americans and unions. Today, infrastructure is once again a priority and trade unions are rebuilding our nation. 4 years ago, so-called forgotten counties in America were struggling economically. Today, they're adding jobs and recovering. As we look to November and beyond, remember the past. Remember the constant chaos of a Trump presidency. Remember how China's influence grew, how American farmers lost market share, how we lost jobs, how infrastructure was ignored, and how America's standing in the world was diminished. And remember how he lost a free and fair election and decided to attack our democracy. That's the truth. Is there still work to be done? Of course. But we can't go back to the past. America's best days are in front of us, not behind us. And when we all come together as Americans, there is nothing we cannot accomplish.
Wow, there it is. Don't know much about Adam Kinzinger, but I definitely respect and trust people that are willing to tell you what they really think. 1.5 million views right there on Twitter alone. All right, I had more content I was going to get into, but who really cares? Mark Sington says a remarkably dishonest acceptance speech. I don't think that's what's going to move the needle. But I did want to share what Kamala Harris had to say and what Biden refused to do during the debate, which is talk about the real concern, which is Project 2025.
He did not talk about Project 2025. Their 900-page blueprint for a second Trump term. He did not talk about it because their plans are extreme and they are divisive. In recent days, they've been trying to portray themselves as the party of unity. But here's the thing. If you claim to stand for unity, you need to do more than just use the word.
So I think I don't think she's a strong speaker from what we've seen in the past. She kind of like botches a lot of lines and reuses them, but she'll have her fair shot according to these sources at the convention. And we'll have to see who her VP pick is, if in fact Biden does step down and if those rumors are true. I had more info to get to from Under the Desk News. Do we have enough time here? We're kind of running late on time, but it kind of reiterates a lot of the things we already said. I'll play the clip.
Will President Biden be stepping down as the 2024 Democratic candidate for president? Very likely. And earlier today, some sources were saying it could come as early as tonight to try and interrupt Trump's speech, which is the first time that Trump will be speaking since the assassination attempt. I do not think it will happen tonight, but people are saying that the presidential historian and speechwriter John Meacham is putting the finishing touches on Biden's speech. Meacham wrote Biden's acceptance speech in 2020. He also wrote the 2024 State of the Union.
All I'll say is this. Today's Friday. If we get any breaking news over the weekend that Biden's about to make a speech, I think we know what it's going to be. I think it will be must-watch TV if you can get to it. It will be powerful, and it will... I mean, I don't say sad. It'll be shocking because we just don't see this happen often in our lifetimes. And after last weekend's once-in-a-lifetime assassination attempt, if Biden does step down, it'll be truly, truly wild to see. All right. Well, again, I'll get comments from people, which I assure you I won't be reading, saying, Dave, stick to entertainment news. We don't care about this. Well, I ask you, regardless of where you exist on the political ideology in our country, if you valued my opinion in other ways, value it here and have a listen to what people are saying. And as the deck gets shuffled, as it is about to be done, as these sources are saying, let's just listen and follow our intuition and see who we can find that can help unify this country. If you believe that is Trump, knock yourself out and go vote for him. If you believe it's somebody else, vote. And if I get a decent response to this video, maybe we'll make more of them. Let me know. Vote with your view. I'll talk to you guys in a little bit. Oh, also, don't forget, I've got a podcast. If you do if you do complain, like some people do, and say, Dave, more entertainment news, I got it all in the podcast twice a day. So go check that out, The Rush Hour with Dave Neal, where I've got your pop culture, entertainment news, and political conversations all woven into one. 25 minutes for your rush hour ride home. I'll have that one this afternoon. Just search Dave Neal wherever you listen to podcasts. It's free. I'll talk to you guys later. Have a good one, everybody. See you later.